A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to a brand new edition of News First Weekend coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Argan Bay. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening. Southwestern monsoon to gradually establish tomorrow. More than 350,000 affected due to the drought. Farmlands in Kurunegala affected by the spread of a caterpillar similar to the fall armyworm or the Sena caterpillar. Maracana Tara continues hunger strike for the third consecutive day. An engineer who provided financial aid to Mohammad Zaharan arrested. India says not ready to sacrifice its economic growth to gain trade benefit. And now the stories in detail. While politicians continue their battle for political power, a devastating drought and a fast-spreading agricultural pest is making the lives of many millions of Sri Lankans increasingly difficult to bear.
The drought has so far impacted the lives of some 350,000 people. Although rains are expected in certain parts of the island, people living in several areas in the north and east continue to be battered by this debilitating drought. The village of Karavahu in Kalmane, Ampara, is one example. This is the manner in which paddy land has been left barren, leaving struggling farmers destitute.
There are over 2,800 acres here. Around 400 acres of paddy land have been destroyed. These farmers are very poor. They find money to farm by pawning their jewelry. It has been a month since we cultivated. We were promised water, but so far we have received nothing.
The main source of irrigation to this village and other surrounding villages has dried up, leaving villagers without a drop of water, even to drink. According to the data from the Tirukkoval Pradeshya Sabha, over 17,000 people in the area are facing a severe drinking water crisis.
We don't have water. It has not rained for the last 3 months. Our livelihood has been destroyed. No one is interested in helping us.
The footage you are seeing here shows how the drought has not spared the lives of livestock either. Though the southwestern monsoon is set to be active starting tomorrow, the Met Department says that it may not bring sufficient rains to the northern and eastern areas. This makes it clear that extremely dry conditions can be expected in the region, making an already bad situation even worse. Meanwhile, according to data released by the Irrigation Department, the water levels of main reservoirs have dropped to 40%.
Due to the extreme dry weather condition, the water management of all reservoirs is managed strictly. We find this very difficult, especially the Senanayaka Samudra in Ampara and the reservoirs in the Batiklu due to the lack of rain. We hope that at least light showers will be experienced in these areas. It may not be sufficient for the reservoirs, but at least it would help the paddy cultivation. Due to the strict management of water in these reservoirs, there is no water in smaller reservoirs. If we don't receive showers tomorrow, the situation will be worse.
While the drought devastates lives in one part of the island, farmers in the northwestern and southern provinces are enduring untold hardships due to the spread of an agricultural pest. A species of caterpillar is spreading fast in the northwestern province, damaging crops and ruining harvests. Experts believe this caterpillar is similar to the fall armyworm that devastated crops in many parts of Sri Lanka a few months ago. According to the farmers, hundreds of acres of land have been damaged so far. According to farmers, the pests that feed on the paddy stem and leaf have spread rapidly over the past 2 weeks. According to our Newsfirst correspondent, the caterpillars have even begun feeding on grass, which will impact livestock.
දෙය තමයි මේවා මේ බේර ගන්න දඟලුවේ ඒත් නෑ දැන් මොකොත්ම ගස් කොළන් ඔක්කොම මේ මැරිලා ගිහිල්ලා දැන් අනේ මොන දෙයක් කරන්නද දන්නේ වතුරත් නෑ උඩ ඉන්න දෙයියෝ තමයි මේවා බලා ගන්න වෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, farmers in the Matra district are battling a crisis caused by a spreading species of worm. This paddy field in Sapogoda, Kamrupitia, might look like it is fertile and prosperous, but the truth is far from it. It is nearly barren in large part due to an invasion by this species of worm. According to the farmers, the worms have destroyed more than 60 acres of land by feeding on the paddy stem and its leaf. These farmers, who have invested their life savings on these crops, are now left helpless, looking on as their only hope is destroyed before their very eyes.
ඕනෙම කුඹුරු අක්කර තියෙනවා මෙතන 600ක් විතර තියෙනවා. නියම කන්නේට වගා කළා. පොර ලැබෙන්නේ වගා කළා සතියකට දෙකකට විතර පස්සේ.
පාර මේ ගොවිතැන් කරන්න මේ කියන්නේ බැරි තත්ත්වයක් තමයි උදා වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මාත්.
ප්‍රාසන ඉතින් කරන විනියටනේ ප්‍රාසන තියේ. ඒ මිනිසුන්ට නැහනේ ප්‍රාසන. අතාරින්න බැරි කමට මේ කරනෝ මේ.
As announcements of elections are made, as politicians and political parties up their rhetoric on various platforms, the question remains, who will care for the people?
Parliamentarian Venerable Athurali Maracana Tara continued hunger strike for the third consecutive day today.
A team of doctors from the Pera the New Hospital arrived at the location to check up on the health of Venerable Athurali Maracana Tara. A large number of people visited the Venerable Tara yesterday and today as well. The Venerable Tara began the strike calling for the removal of certain individuals holding government positions on the 31st of last month in close proximity to the temple of the Sacred Tooth relic.
Dr. Venerable Villanvilla Maracana Tara expressed the following views at an event held in Colombo yesterday.
The biggest tragedy that has befallen on our nation is that the people who should listen to the voice of the people of this country have gone deaf. This shows that the leaders do not care even if our country collapses. They do not find solutions to the problems at hand. Instead, they prolong solving it. The Parliament Select Committee is the best example for this. The leaders of this country are prolonging solving this problem, hoping that the people of this country will forget everything that happened. This is only going to divide this country further and drag us down.
The Tara also expressed his views on the failure to punish perpetrators involved in fraud and corruption over the past years.
What happened over the past few years was that the people who came into power promised to bring the people involved in fraud and corruption before the law. But they themselves started their terms with activities of corruption. When questioned about it, their standard answer is that there was corruption in the previous regime. White vans roamed the streets during the rule of the previous government. We have stopped it. They feel what they did was of great importance. This is not what we expected to hear from the leaders of this country. If they came into power, they need to execute their duties at hand. They need to serve the people. They need to be ashamed of themselves to come before the people of this country and the media and excuse their actions, saying that even the previous regime was corrupt. They came into power promising to bring the people involved in fraud and corruption before the law.
Why is there increased attention towards the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port?
It is no secret that Sri Lanka's strategic geopolitical location has been and will be attracting the attention of powerful nations of the world. Even in the past, the internal political instability of our country has led to the country falling prey to such foreign nations who are not only interested in the geopolitical importance of our motherland but also its natural resources. It should therefore be the responsibility of those who govern and those who envisage to govern to protect these natural resources from falling prey to international forces irrelevant of the internal political power struggles, uncertainties and inconsistencies that may be. Yesterday we reported on a high-value property at the Colombo port, the South Asia Gateway Terminal, that has been privatized due to political reasons of the past. We reported on how a shareholding of 85% to 15% was introduced in this endeavour, where the latter was being held by the government. The Colombo International Container Terminal, or the CICT, is another high-value property that holds similar, if not more importance within the Colombo port. The CICT, which commenced operations in the year 2013, has the capacity of 3 million TEUs or 20-foot equivalent units. The project is initially planned with three stakeholders, the private sector, China and the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The initial price tag of the terminal was $400 million. However, after the cost of the terminal was increased from $400 to $500 million, the private sector company that showed interest withdrew, and thereafter the project went ahead with China and the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The profit share thereby was divided once again as 85% to 15%, with the latter being held by the Sri Lankan government. This particular terminal is South Asia's only deep draft terminal, and during the first year of its operation, the CICT has handled a capacity of 2.4 million containers, and in 2018 it has handled a capacity of 2.65 million. While the shareholding of this important location is such, the Colombo International Financial City is also being constructed with Chinese intervention. Against this backdrop, the government has now taken steps to sign a memorandum of cooperation between India and Japan for the East Container Terminal. As per this MOC, 51% of shares will be held by the government of Sri Lanka and 49% will be held by the other two stakeholders. Thereby, out of the three high-value terminals of the Colombo port and the proposed East Container Terminal, only 45% is controlled by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority.
The Marine Environment Protection Authority requests the general public to limit the use of the beach area from Valavata to Mount Lavinia. The request was made as black oil residue washed ashore between Valavata and Mount Lavinia.
The black oil residue washed ashore from last night. The Marine Environment Protection Authority requests the general public to refrain from using this beach area until the residue is cleaned up.
This is called a tar ball effect. This would be due to cleaning of a vessel, a damage to a vessel, or else due to illegal release of oil to the sea. The Marine Environment Protection Authority has taken oil samples, as we can impose fines to the vessel, its owner or the group which owns the vessel. The fine amount ranges from 4 million rupees to 14 million rupees.
The United Arab Emirates, issuing a travel advisory, have requested its citizens to postpone all travels to Sri Lanka. In a tweet, UAE Embassy to Sri Lanka noted that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in UAE urges citizens of the state to postpone travel to Sri Lanka due to the security situation. The three-member committee appointed to look into April 21st attacks say that the report will be handed over to President Maithripala Sirisena on the 10th of this month. And according to a member of the group, A recording of the evidence on the attack was completed on the 31st of May. Moreover, the investigations of the security forces into the attacks are still ongoing.
An engineer who was involved in the construction of mosques belonging to Mohammed Zahran has been arrested in the Kaudana area in Dehivala. Police said the arrest was made following investigations carried out based on a tip-off. Police said investigations revealed that the suspect has resided in Canada for 5 years and 10 years in Saudi Arabia. The suspect holds a Canadian citizenship and an original resident of Nigambo. Police said it was revealed that after his marriage, the suspect had arrived at Kaudana, Dehivala. According to police, the suspect will be detained and interrogated for 72 hours. Police Special Task Force arrested a suspect who impersonated a major in the army intelligence during a raid carried out in Lakshapathiya, Moratuwa. Police noted that the suspect was an individual who practiced extremism. The suspect, named Nizar Mohammed, had impersonated as Major John. The suspect was handed over to the Police Organized Crimes Division. Moreover, the Criminal Investigations Department has appointed 10 special teams to probe the April 21st attacks. A senior official noted that separate groups have been appointed to each of the attacks. 89 individuals, including 7 women, suspected to be the members of the now-banned National Tawhid Jamaat organization, are currently under the custody of the CID. Police noted 23 of these suspects are ones who conducted sermons. Further, another 23 suspects, including 2 women, are currently under the custody of the Terrorist Investigations Division.
Area residents protested when attempts were made to construct a building on a plot of land close to the Argan Bay beach and the forest reserve adjacent to the beach. Now, according to the area residents, this plot of land in question belongs to the Coast Conservation Department and the Forest Department.
Argan Bay Beach, a popular destination for surfing, is one of the most scenic beaches in South Asia. However, from time to time, various individuals attempt to carry out constructions and demarcate land plots. These attempts were made futile due to the protests of area residents. Area residents protested when a group that arrived with police officers carried out construction activities at this location.
This is a problem to all of us. We have lived in this village for 4 generations and we have never touched these lands because this is a sand dune. How do they get permission? Who are these officials behind them? It is thanks to this sand dune that we survived the tsunami.
Though the group that carried out the constructions noted that they have a court order in their favor, the Department of Forest Conservation said that they have not received any such order.
The inaugural ceremony of the Institute of Emergency Care Practitioners took place this morning. The event was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The inaugural ceremony took place today at BMICH in Colombo. The new website for the Institute of Emergency Medical Practitioners was launched by the President.
The health sector is up to its standard because of the dedication of the specialist doctors and the nurses. Why have we got commendation from the World Health Organization is because of the quality and the high standards. As government, we can do only a limited amount of things to the health sector. We can provide with physical and human resources. When we consider the number of doctors and nurses served overseas and the number of professionals who retires every year, the number of doctors in the country is not sufficient to meet the national demand.
The 196th Hudaga Mane was vested with the public today by Minister of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs and the Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajid Premadasa.
The village that was built in Monaragala was named as Muppane Ratera Alagama. The village consists of 23 fully fledged houses. Minister Sajid Premadasa awarded loans to low-income earners under the Visitor Loan Scheme and Sonduru Pesa housing loan schemes. We are committed for national security. Recently, a statement was issued by religious leaders and they said they reject proposals that allow foreign troops into the country.
At this moment, I would like to state that I second the statement of our most respected religious leaders, not once but 1,000 times. Foreign forces cannot camp in Sri Lanka. Our country will never be betrayed for foreign forces.
A group of Sri Lankan researchers have revealed the ancient humans of Sri Lanka who lived over 48,000 years ago have consumed rice. Now, this is the oldest evidence of the use of rice by ancient humans. Now, taking a look at one of the stories that we brought you earlier during the bulletin, a group of Sri Lankan researchers have revealed ancient humans of Sri Lanka who lived over 48,000 years ago have consumed rice. Now, this is the oldest evidence of the use of rice by ancient humans.
More than 10 years ago, the Department of Archaeology, universities of Sri Jayawardenepura, Kelaniya and several foreign universities jointly conducted the research centered in the Fahian cave site, locally known as Pahiyangala. Dr. Shiran Dharaniyagala, Dr. W.H. Vijaypala and Dr. Nimal Pereira and many other both local and foreign scientists were able to open up an untouched milestone in the history of our country. Lecturer Oshan Wedage was part of this research panel. It has been found that many species which are currently extinct in Sri Lanka have lived 45,000 years ago, and that ancient humans used fire to consume meat. Human skeletal remains and tools were also found in the site. It was also revealed that ancient humans consumed plants, and the varieties of rice is an important revelation. Dr. T.R. Premathiraka, Director of Postgraduate Institute of Archaeology of the University of Kelaniya, was handed over the further research on plant fossils. Accordingly, the final result is a revelation of a new era of agricultural and human settlements in Sri Lanka.
වනගත බී වර්ග භාවිතා කරමින් ජනතාව සෑහෙන කාලයක් ජීවත් වෙලා තියෙනවා කියන තත්ත්වය
It has come to light through the Pahian excavations that the people had used wild paddy over a long period. There had been a population in this country over 48,000 years ago that had paddy or rice. This is not seen anywhere else in the world where the link with rice has been made. We have used carbon dating to ascertain the time frame of this find. We got connected with the Stockholm University as well as the Queen's University in England.
The first human skeleton discovered in Sri Lanka for the first time is from this place, which is a skeletal remain of a woman aged 23 to 25 years. Speaking to Brisbane Times newspaper, Griffith University expert Dr. Michelle Langley said the ancient Fahian humans and modern humans have been physically the same as people living today. Dr. Langley said the findings showed a population of people using human ingenuity to get the most of a harsh environment without any of the benefits of the subsequent 45,000 years of technological advances. She also added that it appears the ancient humans also used canine teeth, turning them into hunting tools, especially to hunt monkeys and for piercing and cutting.
We have found the most historic data surrounding the coast area. The historic man has adapted himself well to the tropical rainforest by using small tools. The beings that occupied these areas 45,000 to 48,000 years ago have had a good understanding of their environment. They have made tools that match the environment.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.